Hey Realtors, it's Austin Smallwood with the SCR Legal Hotline to walk you through some upcoming changes to the SCR Forms library. There are going to be 4 total videos in this playlist, and I would encourage you to watch all 4 videos prior to using any of the new forms. If after watching these videos you still have questions about the new forms, please contact your broker. You can also contact the SCR Legal Hotline or email any member of the SCR Legal team. There will be in-person forms training conducted at every local board prior to these forms changes, so I'd encourage you to reach out to your local board for those dates. Additionally, we will have a forms webinar on August 8th at noon to go over all of these changes. The form that we're about to go over is the sales contract, SCR Form 310. The changes you see here were also made to Form 300, which is the condo contract, and Form 330, which is the vacant lots and land contract. So the first change is to paragraph 6. So in paragraph 6 is where we discuss transaction cost. In paragraph 1 is listed all the buyer's transaction cost, everything the buyer is going to have to pay for at closing. One of those items is contractually required brokerage compensation. That would be any amount of compensation that is left after a compensation agreement that the buyer is still responsible for paying. That is not all of their closing costs. That is one of the many items that is listed in paragraph 1. Now, in paragraph 4, the buyer has the ability to negotiate with the seller for the seller to pay some of the buyer's transaction cost. And they would do so by putting a number on this line here. Now, the new part is the seller has the ability, if they choose, to restrict where some of those funds can go. The seller could say, I'm going to give X amount of transaction cost for the buyer, and I don't care where they go. At which point, the numbers on this line and this line would match up. If the seller does want to restrict where that compensation can go, they would either have a lesser amount here than is up here, or they could just flatly say, I'm fine with paying the buyer's transaction cost on any of the items up here, except for contractually required brokerage compensation. And there will be a buyer initial blank and a seller initial blank there. That will be a term that they need to negotiate. Certainly parties should discuss with their lender what their ability is for paying any closing cost. The next change is to paragraph 14. This deals with home warranty companies. This is not for a referral because you cannot receive compensation for a referral, but this is for actually filling out the paperwork for the home warranty company. If you are being paid by a home warranty company for doing that work, you would need to disclose that to all parties via an addendum, Form 390, or in paragraph 28, and everyone needs to be aware of it and know that that payment is coming exclusively from the home warranty company and not from any party to the transaction or their broker. Paragraph 27, there is a minor change here that simply states that everybody needs to know where the commission is coming from, that it's either coming from a buyer's agreement, a seller's agreement, or from a compensation agreement, that there is no sort of outside arrangement for compensation the parties are not aware of, and all that compensation is going to be reflected on the closing statement. Paragraph 28, this is where if there's any additional negotiations for the contract, those should be put there. This is where you could disclose if you were being compensated by that home warranty company. But under no circumstances should anything about brokerage compensation be listed in here. Brokerage compensation should be handled either through the agency agreement, the transaction brokerage agreement, a compensation agreement, or as one of the many buyer transaction costs in paragraph 6. It would be inappropriate to write anything about your compensation other than that home warranty compensation in paragraph 28. In Form 120, the compensation agreement should not ever be attached to a sales contract, as that is a completely separate negotiation. So those are the changes that have been made to the sales contract. As I mentioned previously, similar changes have also been made to the condo contract and to the land contract, those being Forms 300 and 310. If you have any additional questions, don't hesitate to give us a call on the legal hotline. Thank you.